Welcome back. Today I'm going to share some insider knowledge with you by addressing the question, how do I actually manage my handyman business workflow pipeline in such a way that it opens up more time for me to work on my business and not in it? Without a system in place, administrative work feels a lot more like a necessary nightmare than simply a routine task like it should. But it has more to do with not having a system in place than anything else, and that's something we can fix. So this is where we're going to find one of those easy wins today just by adopting an industry-leading CRM and learning how to use it effectively. In today's video, I'm going to show you my actual handyman business's process from the first step of importing new jobs, assigning them out, scheduling them, all the way to documenting the work on site, and wrapping up at home at the end of the day with identifying and invoicing all of that day's completed jobs. This is actually my process for my business, and you'll see a lot of the ways that I've customized the process and the software to prevent more headaches in the future. Now, for my business, I've been using Jobber since about my second week in business well over 5 years ago, and to be honest with you, I couldn't have built this business without it. I think if you learn to harness Jobber to manage your business like I did, you're going to find that you have a lot more time to work on your business instead of in it. If you want a free 14-day trial with my exclusive discount of 15% off for the first 6 months, you can go to the description of this video or any of my videos. And if you want to participate in a longer form webinar where I dive way deeper into the software, then you can go straight to bulletproofhandyman.com to sign up for one of my webinars that I typically do a couple times a month. So let's dive in now and I'll show you my process.
Every day we rise up high. Every night we do or die. Every day we bulletproof. Every night howl at the moon.
All right.
Every day we grind it down. Every night we smooth it out.
All right, guys, this is the home page. We're going to start everything from the home page, and to create a job, we're going to click create and then slide on over to job and click job. Now, when you click job, it's going to open up your job creation page. You're going to start at the top left by selecting a client. You may have to create a new client if you don't have your client in there already, but I'm going to go ahead and select Fancy Nancy right here. Once you select your client, again, you may need to create a new property if you don't already have properties, but I do already have them. So I'm going to select on any particular property. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the actual address of the property, and I'm going to paste it up here in the title, and I'm going to follow it up with a brief description of what's going on. So toilet. And this is going to be over here on the right side. These are all of your custom fields. Now, I made all of these fields except just a couple. You're not going to see all of these because you haven't made all of these. If you do want to make your own custom fields, you can do so by clicking Add Field right here. Or you can come up to the settings and you can go into your settings and you can add a custom field from the settings. Either way. For me, I'm pretty much always going to have a tenant contact. So this is going to be Mary, and her number is 520-867-5309. And work order number for my clients, they all have work order numbers. It's usually just a string of letters and numbers so they can track the job on their side. The rest of these are irrelevant unless you have fields that you need to fill in. Next is going to be job type. You're going to be one-off unless you know it's recurring. So if you don't have some reason to believe that this is a recurring job, you're going to go ahead and keep it selected to one-off. Next, the schedule. This is important. I put all my jobs in the moment that I receive my jobs, and then I schedule them later. I do this to make sure that no jobs ever accidentally get slipped through the cracks if I forget to go put them in later. So what I do is when I'm creating the job, I select schedule later. I come over here and assign the job to myself, and I go ahead and click email team about assignment. And then later on, when I'm ready to schedule, I can actually come up here and click on the schedule icon, and it's going to take me into a map where I can see all of my unscheduled jobs in Tucson on a map. And for example, I might notice that I have 3 unscheduled jobs kind of all up near the northeast side of town. So I'll try to schedule those 3 jobs all for the same day to make my driving time a little bit more efficient. So I come in here, I say schedule later, get all this filled out, scroll down. I'm going to keep this selected. Remind me to invoice when I close the job. And then here's a really important part. Under product and service, I'm going to type original request. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in the exact request that I received from the client verbatim with spelling errors, with punctuation errors. This is going to be my record of the exact request and the scope contained within the request that I received initially. So for this one, we're going to say master toilet constantly running. There we go. Very common job. It's going to be almost certainly the fill valve, but it doesn't matter right now for the process of creating the job. Now, I'm going to tell you why I do this. The reason I have this original request line, this is not going to get deleted ever. This is going to follow all the way through to the final invoice. Someday somebody's going to show up and ask you, hey, why did you do this thing that I didn't ask you to do? Now I don't want to pay for it. Or they're going to say, why didn't you do this thing that I did ask you to do? Now I've got to pay you another trip fee to come back and do it, and I don't want to pay you that extra trip fee. And your answer to that question is going to be found by coming back to this original request and seeing what the actual original scope was that they requested of you. So for this one, master toilet constantly running, anything within the scope of fixing that problem should be a viable solution that we should be able to perform the work and invoice for. This is how you're going to keep this record so that you can come back and find the answer to those questions later if and when they are asked. So that's it. You know, you can put some internal notes down here if you want, but you really don't need to at this point. So now we're just going to save this job, and that is actually pretty dang easy. So you'll remember we haven't actually scheduled this job yet. We just made the job as soon as it came in. So now let's say we actually sat down and we got some scheduling done. We know when we're going to do this job finally. So we're going to come up here to edit. And from edit, we can scroll down and we can deselect schedule later. We can insert our schedule into here and actually get this job scheduled. I'm just going to put it back on schedule later, but that's how you would do that. And then you can come down to the bottom and click update job, and you can update the job. So we have our unscheduled or scheduled job ready to go. It's the day that we're actually going out to do the job. We show up on site, we analyze, we diagnose, we repair, we do a function test, and now we're ready to document. So the way that we're going to document this is we're going to come down to the internal notes while we're on the job. And this is what you should have your employees and your subcontractors do as well. You scroll down to the internal notes, and the first thing you're going to do is select a file, and you're going to throw a photo in here of the work that you actually did. So for this one, this is a toilet. We got a new fill valve, and we're going to put a picture of that on there. And we're going to write in the internal notes, replaced replace toilet fill valve and function tested good, no leaks, no running. You can word this however you want to word it. So now you've got your photo up there and you've got your description in. Go ahead and click save. And now you've done the job and you've documented the job. And the next thing we want to do is actually close out this visit so that when we get home today, we know this job needs to be invoiced. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to scroll up to visits. Now I want you to notice this is a visit. This is a job. This whole page is the job. However, this little block is just this particular visit. There could be multiple visits, so you just want to close out your visit. So you click on visits, you click mark complete, and then you can either close the job, schedule a new visit, or leave as action required. Well, we don't want to close any job until it's time to invoice, and we're not scheduling a new visit. Therefore, we leave as action required, and I'm going to show you in the next step why we leave it as action required. So now this entire thing is closed out. We are done with this job. We're moving on to the next job. Now we finally arrived home later in the day, and it's time to actually invoice. The way that we're going to invoice is we're going to come over here and we're going to open up this jobs tab. And what you're going to find when you open up the jobs tab is you're going to find all of your late jobs are going to be on top. And a late job is simply a job that was scheduled, but nobody has closed out any visits or documented anything for. Under the late jobs is going to be requires invoice. All of the requires invoicing jobs, those are jobs where you closed out the entire job, but you have not yet invoiced. And then after requires invoicing, that's where you're going to see your action required jobs. So once you see your action required, you know these are the ones where the visits are closed out, the job's not closed out, and you're going to need to make an invoice. So the one we just did was this Tanque Road one. Let's go ahead and open it up. And the first thing we do when we open this job up, to invoice it, we just scroll straight to the bottom and make sure we have a picture uploaded. Look at the picture, make sure it's a good solid picture that does in fact document that job. Close it out. Make sure we have a description. We do have a good description here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just copy that description as long as I'm here. Scroll back up here, read that original request, and make sure the scope of work we performed matches the original request. Master toilet constantly running. Our scope says that we did something that would fix that and that we function tested. So we're going to leave original request. Like I said, that never goes away. Now we're going to add a new line item, and that new line item is going to be labor. And under labor, we're simply going to paste, replace toilet fill valve and function tested good, no leaks, no running. And we're going to give it a price. For me, this is going to be a trip fee, so that's just a flat $150 for the labor. Quantity 1, everything else looks good. Go ahead and save. And then next, we're going to click on a new line item because we do need to document our materials. So you can either type the word materials in here, or you can select materials, or you can do like I do. I use Jobber, and I use a lot of these custom line items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type fill, since we installed a new fill valve. Scroll down just a little bit, and there's one of my pre-made line items, materials, toilet fill valve. It's already pre-filled. And what I want you guys to know too is you can go to bulletproofhandyman.com and go to my documents folder, and you can actually download my personal, individual, customized line items, and you can upload them into your Jobber account. So you can use what I have, and I'm always updating those and making them better. Just make sure you use my link in the description to get your Jobber account so that you have a Jobber account to upload my custom line items into. So let's go ahead and click save on this one. And now we have our final price. We've done everything that we need to do inside this job. Let's go ahead and click save on this down here. Back up to the top. So this job is all done. Your pricing is all in. You've documented everything. You've checked everything. The next thing you want to do is now we can close out. We closed out the visit before already. So now we want to close out the job. To close out the job, you can click on more actions, close job. And now that the job is closed out, now you can actually create an invoice. But before you click that, let's go ahead and highlight this title right here and copy it. Then click Create Invoice. When you click Create Invoice, it's going to drop you into this screen. All of these here are jobs that you have closed out, but you have not yet invoiced. This should be empty. You really shouldn't be closing out jobs without invoicing. Down here at the bottom, this is the job that you just now closed out and clicked Create Invoice from. It will pre-select the job that you just came from. So make sure that one's selected, click Next Step. And now, as you can see, we are inside the actual invoice for the first time. Remember, you copied that title before, so let's go ahead and paste that into the subject line. This will be the subject of the email that you send when you email this invoice. And that means your client's going to be able to search for this invoice by simply searching for the address of the house. Great thing about invoicing is if you did everything you needed to do when the job was open, then all you're doing at this point is just double checking everything. Make sure your custom fields are filled out if you need them filled out. Make sure you're happy with your work descriptions. Make sure you have your original request. Make sure your quantities are correct. Make sure your pricing is correct. Do a discount or add tax if you need to. Most of y'all probably don't need to, but this is where you do that if you want to do it. Client message if you want to add one. Your contractor disclaimer will already be in here if you have one loaded into Jobber already. Add your internal notes if you need to, but otherwise you don't need to do anything. You should just be basically pasting in your title into the subject line, double checking everything. And if you're happy with everything, you can do one of two things. You can save the invoice in Jobber, or you can save and. So with save and, you can either save and send as text message, or send as email, or and collect payment. We're going to do save and send as email, but you could send the text message or you could collect the payment. Send as email, it's going to auto-populate with your client's email address already up here. By the way, all of this right here is editable, and not only can you edit it inside this screen, you can also go into your settings and you can edit the actual template so that you use a different template from now on as well. Now, something I want you to notice is over here on the right, these job attachments. This is the photo that you uploaded earlier. If you want to send the invoice with a photo of the completed work, like many of y'all will be needing to do, you can go ahead and select that right now, and it'll attach it to the email, and then go ahead and click send email. And this is it, guys. That's everything. That's all you have to do to create the job, schedule the job, document the job, and ultimately invoice the job. Again, I do all of this in Jobber. I've been doing this in Jobber for more than 5 years now. It has been instrumental in the success of my business. If you guys want to learn more about it, you can go to the description of this video or any of my videos. Click on my link, get your free trial, go to bulletproofhandyman.com and sign up for one of my free webinars. And by the way, if you use my link, you'll also get an additional 15% off for the first 6 months. Now, if you guys have any further questions, I don't want you to hesitate to reach out to bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. I will repeat that one more time. bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. I respond to all emails no matter what. That is a promise from me to you. And if you would like additional free resources, you can go to bulletproofhandyman.com, where I have my entire ecosystem built around helping you start and run your handyman business. With all that being said, I love you guys. I hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.